Three club legends have left us this summer and we've spent £250 million replacing them. We've been named favourites for the Premier League and favourites for the Champions League. This is the season. Hello and welcome to Season 17, Episode 1 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kev, and coming up on today's episode, we've got a Premier League game at home to Ipswich and a Champions League game at home to Sporting Lisbon. For the first time, you can see we've actually started the season off, mainly because I wanted to get to the end of the transfer window because it's been a big one. So let's have a look to see what's been going on. We're going to start with three club legends who've left the club this summer, starting off with club captain Sabri Madain. Hold on. I have notes. He's got his iPad out. He's got notes. This is important because when you've got players of the sort of standard of these players leaving the club, it's important that we do these things properly. So let's say a few words about Sabri Madain. This fella, he was our club captain. He spent 12 seasons at City, made 329 league appearances, and in his time at the club won the Premier League 4 times, the Champions League twice, the Europa League, 3 FA Cups, 2 Capital One Cups. He's gone off to Everton for £8 million. We wish him luck. He wasn't really getting into the team last season. We spent a lot of money bringing in Lazarov, and Ron Osborne decided he was a right back. So Sabri Madain, we wish him well. He is no longer with us. Who else have we let go? Where is he? Next one, Steve has left the club. Steven Wagner, as he's left, I've given him his real name back. He's gone off to Aston Villa. Another legend. Allow me to refer to the iPad again. The club record goal scorer, highest league goal scorer for Manchester City in history, 168 goals in 288 Premier League games over the last 11 seasons. He's won all the same trophies that Madain has, and at 32 years old, we've managed to squeeze £14 million out of Aston Villa for him. Hopefully he'll agree that's quite good business for what would have been our third choice striker again for this season. And we've also finally managed to get rid of this guy, also a club legend, obviously for what he did before I arrived. Never really fitted into the system I wanted to play because the position he wanted to play in, Ayrton kind of occupied. But Vicente Van Inzerillen leaves the club. He is also a legend and deserves the same treatment as the others. So he's had 229 league appearances for us over 8 seasons. In his time at the club, he's won the Premier League twice. He's won the Champions League. He's won the Europa League. He's won 3 FA Cups. He's won the League Cup. He's still only 28, but goes to Paris Saint-Germain for £20 million. We've also sold a few other players as well. You can see nearly £70 million of players have left the club. Rafael Delgado, who was our backup goalkeeper, he's gone to Bournemouth for £2.5 million. Pedro Ferreira is an interesting one. 23 years old, never really got a look in under me as manager. Goes to Paris Saint-Germain for £12.5 million. Probably would have been quite a handy guy to keep around, but crucially, wasn't trained by Man City, so didn't actually help the situation that we got ourselves in last year that we spent the whole summer trying to fix. So because he only would have been a backup player, we wouldn't have fitted him around 25, so felt right to let him leave the club. Same situation for, where is he? Pasquale Bossato, 25-year-old Italian centre-back, again never really made the grade at Man City. He's gone off to Brentford after a season on loan at Paris Saint-Germain. I mean, interesting. I mean, look at these clubs he's been on loan to. Fiorentina, Valencia, Sevilla, Paris Saint-Germain. Finally ends up Brentford. Bet he's loving life at the moment. And we've also finally got rid of Adriano Suarez, who was a victim of the 25-man squad thing last season. He arrived at the club for big money just before I became manager. About a week before I signed on, £49 million signing. Played a lot for us in our first season. Didn't play at all last season because there was no room for him in the squad. He goes to Juventus for £10 million at 30 years old. I can live with that. So, the players coming in. As you can see, we spent £252 million. A lot of these players are teenagers. In fact, I think 12 of the 14 players who have come in are teenagers, and 6 of them are under 18s. specifically brought in so that 2 or 3 years down the line we don't have the same problem we had last season. That's eased a little bit this year. Our Premier League squad is fine because we've got all these under 21 players who don't count towards the 25. It's still not ideal for the Champions League because you need to have 4 players trained at your club, and we only have 3 still, and they're all fringe players. But hopefully bringing these under 18s in will solve that problem going forward. It's bizarre as well because Man City are at the top of that most produced players in England. 31 top division players have come out of the Man City Academy and are currently still playing. That's more than any other club in England, but just none of them are at City, which is not ideal. So if we look at the big ones, I'm not going to go through all the youngsters individually. We'll pick out a couple of key ones, but the big one, club record signing, Konstantin Semenov. 28-year-old Russian centre-back. He's played 97 times for Russia. What on earth am I doing signing another centre-back for this kind of money at 28 years old? Well, to be honest, you know we needed another centre-back. We were playing Lewis Bradford at centre-back when we got knocked out of the Champions League. So a centre-back was the top priority. He was the best one I could find. We've got some promising youngsters who in 2 or 3 years, when Semenov is pushing on a bit and getting past it, they'll just come and take his place. When you've got the kind of money we had to throw around, I'm not that bothered spending 92 million quid for a couple of seasons stopgap, and he is the best centre-back at the club. He's superb. He's been at Paris Saint-Germain for years, having signed from Zenit St. Petersburg. He's never actually won anything. If we look on his biography, bless him, the only thing he's ever won was this season's Community Shield. So hopefully he's coming in to get some medals. The other big signing is a 24-year-old Brazilian called Tigana. When he signed, he'd never played for Brazil, so it was a bit of a struggle getting him a work permit. But he can play. I signed him as a backup for Gilberto, but he's probably as good as Gilberto. But he can also, he's natural playing on the right wing as well. So he can sort of tuck in as backup for Ayrton and backup for Gilberto. But what we've actually found is Ayrton started the season injured and hasn't played a game yet because Tigana has just come in and has been fantastic as a playmaker on the right wing. 2 goals and 2 assists in 4 appearances, averaging 8.2, and he's now made his Brazil debut. Ayrton's going to struggle to get himself back into the team. The rest of these we're not going to go through. We'll have a look at them as and when they appear. This one, Juan Francisco, I only signed because he sounds a bit like San Francisco, and it amused me. So he probably will never play for us. The rest of them, though, we'll see over the next few years. The one I'm going to show you now, though, Pepin Verelst. I'm showing you him because he's currently our starting striker, because we've sold Steve, as you know, and João Roberto and Cesar Ortega have both picked up injuries in the first week of the season. That's going to put them out for the first couple of months of the season. So Verelst is going to have a baptism of fire at City. But, I mean, look at this lad. He is a player. 19 years old, already played for Belgium. If we look at these stats that he's got to play as a complete forward, I mean, he doesn't have a weakness. He's only 2-star current ability, but with the potential to go up all the way to 5 stars. He could be the best striker at the club if he develops the way I hope he will. Got 27 goals in 32 appearances for Standard Liège last season, aged 18, and 15 in 22, aged 17. That's quite an impressive goals per game ratio. I know it's only in the Belgian league, but, you know, look, in Europe last season, 7 goals in 10 appearances. Didn't really play in Europe the season before, but he is a goal scorer, and I'm not as concerned as you would think to have him as our starting striker for the first couple of months. And he was a bargain as well. But he could be the biggest bargain since Christian Aaron, and that is saying something. Couple of others. Who else are we going to pick out? The reason we sold what's his face, backup goalkeeper whose name I can't remember, Delgado, is because we brought in this guy Pepe Vargas. Is a young Spanish goalkeeper, brought in from Barcelona for a big pile of cash, but he's going to be awesome. So he's going to come in as our backup keeper. And most of the rest of these you're probably not going to see this season. Sergio Trotta was a panic buy on deadline day because we didn't have a backup striker. We had Steve Bruce, not that one, as our only backup striker. So Sergio Trotta comes in. He's been doing okay at Freiburg, but he was basically the only half-decent striker I could find on deadline day when I realised I only had one striker. But as a more positive, Mputu's been playing as an inside forward this season and training as a striker. He's now natural as a striker and has 4 goals in 4 Premier League games so far. So if needs must, Mputu can go up front. Tigana can shift around a bit. We can bring Ayrton back in. We have options, and I like having options. So, that's the transfers done. Let's get into this game against Ipswich. In fact, before we do that, we'll have a quick look at how the start of the season has gone. We started better than you could ever hope for. Put my iPad away now. We beat Arsenal 3-0 in the Community Shield, and then on our first league game of the season, beat Leeds 6-0. We then went away at Arsenal and lost 2-1, which was really disappointing. But then we've won our last 2 games, beating Liverpool 3-2 and Derby 3-1. So we go into today's game at Ipswich after the international break, hoping we can pick up another win and just ease ourselves into the top of the table. Arsenal are the early threat. I'm not worried about Sheffield Wednesday or Spurs. We're ahead of Chelsea at the moment, but Arsenal had a real strong end to the season and have obviously already beaten us in the league this season as well. So we need to keep an eye on them and not let them get out of sight. As far as England are concerned, we have played a couple of England games. I'll show you them briefly. I'm not going to get involved in lots and lots of England games. I'll show you the big ones and hopefully the Euros in the summer if we get there. But we won 1, lost 1 of the summer qualifiers, beat Slovakia but then lost to Switzerland, and then drew against Bulgaria. So at the moment in our group, at roughly the halfway stage of the group, we are... Where are we? We're second in the group, but level on points with Switzerland, but they have a game in hand. We still have to play Switzerland again now, so all hope is not lost. Obviously, I'm going to get sacked if we don't qualify, but I think there's a playoff for the second place teams anyway, so still hopeful that we're going to get there. So, our team for today's game against Ipswich. We're the evening kickoff. Obviously, it's the old club Ipswich, so we get to see how everybody's doing there as well. But this is the team that we're going for today. So, in goal, Donnarumma, who's now the oldest player at the club because we've had such a big clear out. 32 years old now, and now has Pepe Vargas breathing down his neck, and he'll take over at some point in the next 2 or 3 seasons. A back 4, and it's the first time this back 4 have played together this season because Lazarov has picked up another injury and hasn't played yet this season. But, miraculously, while he's been injured, he's learnt to play left back as well. So we have the option to bring him in as a full-back on either side now, which is handy, and we'll hopefully get him some game time. But our back 4 is Mateza, Murat, Osborne and Lazarov. Semenov got injured on international duty. He's fit-ish, but not worth risking today when we've got the Champions League game in a couple of days' time. Then Koulibaly and Jans in midfield, and Mputu, and now as an inside forward, where he's playing well and scoring lots of goals. Gilberto is an attacking midfielder, and Tagana as an advanced playmaker. Ayrton picked up another knock. He got fit enough to go away and play with Brazil, but then got injured playing for Brazil. So Ayrton still hasn't played yet this season, and new boy Pepin Verelst is up front, and striker-wise, it's a desperate state of affairs. Luis Azevedo is on the bench. He was on loan at Sheffield Wednesday last season and only played 7 games for them. And then we've got Steve Bruce, not that one, who I am very confident will become a superstar for us. I think he could be a stalwart of this squad as time goes on. Not just because I like his name and it amuses me. So we want Verelst to get his first goal for the squad, for the team today, and we obviously want to beat Ipswich. How has Steve Bruce not got a squad number yet? He was playing for us last season. I don't understand the world. Right, so we've had the internet. Oh, well done. We haven't looked at the Ipswich team. Who have we got here? Who on earth? Oh, of course, Matt Lee got injured playing for England. Oops, broke Matt Lee. So they've got someone I've never heard of. Colin Hyde, a 16-year-old goalkeeper, in goal for Ipswich today. If Verelst doesn't get his first goal for us today, I'm going to start to worry about him. Back 4, we recognise 3 of them: Guiliani, Guerra, Zabala, and I don't know who he is. And then Johnny Vaughan plays on the left of midfield with Vosabel and Chris in the middle. And then Aaron and someone I've never heard of called Clement is up front for them. New £14 million signing. We broke Moduful on international duty as well. So quite handy, breaking 2 of Ipswich's most important players like 3 days ago when they were playing for England. So let's get into this game. We want to see goals from Verelst. I also want you to keep an eye on Putu, because seriously, I don't know why we weren't playing him as an inside forward sooner, because he is a monster at it. He drifts inside the same way he used to, but now he drifts inside with a purpose. And with Tagana as an advanced playmaker on the other side, we've got both of our wide midfielders tucking in, and it's allowing the fullbacks to push on a little bit more as well. I'm starting to worry Ayrton's going to struggle to get back into this side, which, bearing in mind he's been our best player for the last 2 years, sounds like madness. But it shows that we're actually starting to build a squad. It's starting to get exciting. But he said all that, and we haven't actually had a highlight yet. Half an hour in. Brilliant. This is what happens when I talk it up too much. I'm too excited. It's all going to go wrong. We're going to lose to Ipswich with a 90th minute goal. And then I'm going to be miserable for the Champions League game, which we'll probably lose as well. There you go. Mood swings. That's the new theme of Non-League to Legend. 17 seasons in. Who thought we'd get to 17 seasons? A couple of people have asked when the Q&A is coming as well to celebrate 2,000 subscribers. I'm going to record it over the next day or two, so you've still got time to put your questions in the comments to this episode, and I'll get that recorded. It'll probably appear on the channel at the weekend. That's what I'm aiming for, hopefully. Right, why have we not taken control of this game yet? Right, Umputu. Well, there you go. Umputu's running with the ball again. He scored a screamer from about there a couple of games ago, so it's a bit of a shame to see that one just drift harmlessly wide. Ron Osborne's the captain now, by the way. Now Sabri Madain has left the club. So, yeah, I like Ron Osborne. Finally getting to play at centre-back as well. Probably not for long, though, once Semenov is fully fit again. Right, Verelst has not had a good game again. I'm actually thinking... I want to put Umputu up front, but I don't have anyone who can go and attack in midfield either. So I'm just going to take him off and we'll give Azevedo another go. He played in the last game and didn't really do very much. Umputu not having a good game as well. Where's all our attacking midfielders? It's because people are picking up injuries. We need Ayrton to get his act together and get fit. And obviously the two strikers need to get fit quick as well. We're also going to bring on Bradford for Koulibaly. Bradford's had a couple of cameos as a box-to-box midfielder and seems to be getting in the box a bit more than he used to, and has already scored once for us this season. So that was handy. Are we really just going to have a boring 0-0 after all that build-up? Shall I bring on Steve Bruce, not that one, to play in attacking midfield? That seems like idiocy. Let's bring on Remco Smith for Jans. Smith's first appearance of the season, although he's played a couple of times for Holland. This is not what the plan was for today. This is quite the disappointment. We've got a striker crisis. We probably shouldn't have let Steve go. I imagine he's got a hat-trick for Villa today. The fans already aren't happy that we sold him, and then the two main strikers both go and get injured just to say, you really shouldn't have sold him, idiot. Oh, that was rubbish, wasn't it? Right, hopefully you'll see a much better performance against Sporting in the Champions League in a minute. So, slight tactical tweak for the Sporting game. I've changed Verelst back to an advanced forward, which is what João Roberto and Ortega always play as. I had been using him as a complete forward because that's what he seems to prefer to do. But 4 games in, not scored yet. The midfield seemed to have stopped scoring as well, so I'm hoping that by switching him to an advanced forward, he's just going to stretch the defence a little bit more and create a bit more room behind him for Gilberto. Other than that, a couple of changes just really to freshen things up. Bradford comes into the midfield in place of Jans, just to give Jans a little bit of a rest, and Semenov comes back into the back four at the expense of Lazarov, which pushes Osborne back out to right back. And that's it. So let's go and play Sporting. And hopefully you'll get to see us score a goal. Ayrton's not playing because he's still not properly fit. Port Vale manager Sylvain Evanks Blake was spotted in the crowd today following recent speculation he's interested in signing Steve Bruce, not that one. Would you? Well, no, I don't know. No one's having Steve Bruce, not that one. And in actual fact, he's not even. Why are you here? I don't know why he's here. Steve Bruce, not that one. He's at home. Which is just as well because it keeps Sylvain Banks Blake away from him. We're not selling Steve Bruce, not that one. Might let him out for a loan, but not yet because he's one of only 3 strikers who can actually play for us at the moment because everyone else is either injured or out on loan already. So you're just going to have to wait, Port Vale, before you get the joys of Steve Bruce, not that one. Let's see Valencia in our group. That's a problem because we know all about Valencia from last season. They're already winning in their game as well against Red Bull Salzburg, is that? I think. And again, we're just not creating anything. We are really missing having a proper striker up front. And how much... if the fans are right and I shouldn't have sold Steve... Oh, I'm going to be gutted. I knew I shouldn't have sold 3 legends in one go either, but, you know, I got excited with the youngsters. Verelst is in! There you go. Who? Steve who? How has that 19-year-old already got grey hair? But more importantly, who cares? He's got his first goal for the club. He obviously just needed to be an advanced forward. That's all it was. Ball over the top from Tigana, who also has grey hair, interestingly. That seems to be the theme for new players. So that's a nice little finish. And hopefully that'll just settle him down now and he can go back to being the goal machine he was in Belgium. And we don't ever need to say the word Steve on this channel again, which was always the policy for this channel as well. Right, we're only 1-0 up, but at least we've scored a goal. Oh, settle down a little bit now. So hopefully we'll just create something else here. Verelst could have been over the top again there from Tigana. I thought they were going to get a player sent off there as well. That would have been an interesting development. I mean, looking at the stats, we've done quite well without creating a single clear-cut chance. But we're doing okay for possession. We are getting shots away, but there's a lot of shots, I guess, from range that aren't really hitting the target at all. A lot of them getting blocked. So we've only had 7 shots that are either on target or off target out of 11. So that, I guess, means 4 were blocked on the way in. We need to create more chances. It's like they don't trust the young lad up front and are trying to do everything themselves. Gilberto, again, not having a good game, and that's really unfamiliar from how things have been for the last 2 seasons, where we could always rely on Gilberto to have a good game. But Ayrton is now on the bench, and he's just going to come on for his mate and say, look, I can do that now because Tigana can go there, and you really better start watching yourself, Gilberto. Can we make him... Yeah, let's make him a playmaker just there. Actually, no, that made no difference at all. So you can stay as an attacking midfielder because we know that works. And Koulibaly has picked up a yellow card and isn't playing great, so easy change to bring Jans on for him. And hopefully, Ayrton, this is his first appearance of the season, will come in, remind everyone that he's really the man, and I start to have to make a difficult decision about who to play on the right-hand side of that midfield. It might even get to the point where we finally have a reason to push Mputu up front, which, by the way, I noticed he's natural on the right and left of midfield, right and left wing, and up front. He's just a superhero who can play anywhere, it seems. Right, Lewis Bradford, not having a great game. We have no one to bring on for him, though. Mateza has picked up a yellow card, as has Murat. I don't really like changing the defence, especially when we're only 1-0 up. But then we've got Lazarov down there. No, we're going to bring Azevedo on. Give him another little go up front because he might be the answer. Who knows? I know Verelst has scored today, but that's pretty much all he's done. And Azevedo is a Man City trained player, so he's going to be around for a few years, whether he's any good or not, because he's one of only 3 in the squad who were trained at the club. So it'd be nice for him to play himself into some good form. Plus, he had a season on loan at Posh, which makes him fine in my book. There you go. All that build-up, all that excitement, you've seen 1 goal this episode, but at least we haven't lost a game. That's the important thing. And there we have it. If you've enjoyed today's episode, make sure you pop a like on there for me. Let me know in the comments what you think of the transfer ins and outs. Let me know what I did wrong and what you lot would have done differently, because I'm sure I've made many, many mistakes. £92 million for a 28-year-old centre-back being a case in point. Subscribe to the channel while you're down there, and thank you very much for watching.